So we are sitting here with a world record holder.
Oh, God.
Spill the beans, let's go.
It sounds way better than it probably is, to be fair.
You have to
But
hype
you know
yourself
when
up.
someone
It's important.
says, "What's your fun fact?" This is the fun fact.
Okay.
So basically, when I was like 13, 14, was part of the Riverdance longest line. So down in Dublin, and there was like, I don't know, 1,500 people or something doing a whole loop of the River Liffey, and we were all there holding hands and had to dance for like 10 minutes. Straight doing Riverdance with Riverdance. So
You were doing a
record.
Riverdance with Riverdance while dancing around the river.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on there.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was the biggest ever, largest ever.
Yeah, still to this day, still hold. Well,
Wow.
there was then speculation a few weeks later that America did it better, but they didn't do it with Riverdance, so it didn't count.
There you go.
So.
And when you are like walking into work now, if you pass the river, does the feeling like come over you?
I mean, no, but yeah. So it's just one of those fun facts that I get to tell about myself.
Did you do much dancing when you were younger? Or
Yeah,
was
I've
it like
danced.
totally unrelated?
No, I've danced since I was Irish dancing since I was 5.
Class.
And so yeah, like near 20 years. But as of tomorrow, actually, I will no longer be dancing. So
this is the world exclusive final Irish dance interview. Daniel, cancel all the questions. We need to concentrate on this one topic. Go deep into your psyche on Irish dancing.
No, well, I competed as a child, but now I just teach. And as of tomorrow, my best friend who I dance with is getting married. And so the last ever show is dancing at her wedding.
Wow.
Isn't that fun?
That is fun.
So.
And what do? You're hanging up the what? Like you're hanging up the boots, you're hanging up the
hard shoes.
You're hanging up the hard shoes.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a emotionally impactful way to start this episode, hanging up the hard shoes. Welcome back to another episode of Meet the Members, where we have the opportunity to sit down with the amazing people who call Ormo Bass their business home. We're here today with Lucy Cook.
Mm-hmm.
Lucy works for DHD. We've had David on the show before, and she is the UX UI wizard. So what the heck is that for the uninitiated?
Yeah. So I call myself like a UX researcher and UI designer. So there's like 2 aspects to it, basically. A UX researcher is user experience. So basically, you're creating the ideal solution experience when using a product or service. So at DHD, we design websites and apps, so therefore that's our product and service that we give. And it kind of involves everything research-based, from like getting requirements from the client. Then I'll go away and I'll research the industry and what they do and who they are. And then you're understanding the users itself, so that's what everything about user experience and user interface is about, like designing for the user rather than just the client, I guess, more than anything. So you're doing like surveys, interviews, usability tests, and you put that all together into like a big, massive sitemap, which like basically holds everything that's going to go into the website. And then the second part comes along where you're turning all that research into a visual design and making it look pretty, and turning it into like a functional prototype that basically you're mocking what a website will look like. Like, it works, it's got interactions, it's got animations. It's just the part before it's built so that you can test it again with users and make sure that the like solution you've come up with solves the problem that they had in the beginning.
So it's very much like there's a lot of feedback involved, like at every step of the process.
Every single step.
You're kind of doing like podcasting at scale with all these users. That do you ever do it in person where you're like over the shoulder watching how they tap something?
Yeah, done that a few times as well. So like with the usability tests, you're sitting beside them and you're asking them to complete certain tasks and seeing how long it takes them to do tasks or how they got to that task, like what pathway they went through. Or if they just get stuck in general, then you're asking questions about what is it that they're thinking, and you're asking them to like think out loud the entire time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what are some of the red flags? You know, whenever you yourself are perusing the World Wide Web and you come on a website or an app, like what just constantly is doing your head in where you're like, guys, this is the fundamental stuff. Please get this right.
So many things, but the big ones like buttons and button labels and buttons that have nowhere to go. There was a site I was looking at yesterday. There was 3 buttons on the homepage that were all labelled the exact same, so therefore it should all go to the same page, but you clicked it and it was a broken link.
Wow.
So
And that's a wee bit of spice to life, though. A wee bit of risk. You're like, ooh, which one of these 3 buttons will I click now?
yeah, I know.
What else? What else disrupts your flow as a user?
I just like it's just basic things, like even just content and copy. Like people over explain what their company does instead of just using plain English that Bob down the road will know how to understand. Like if you just explain it in plain English and give a call to action with get in touch instead of call us directly to do this because you need to do that and whatever else.
Into
then,
one button.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of text going on there.
Just needs to be plain and simple and easy to follow.
What does a massive win look like for you? Like, and feel free to give a case study from DHD where, the before and after, if that makes sense.
Oh, a good one is...
Or a bad one. I mean, it would probably be better if you share a good one, but yeah.
A good one is, so in DHD, like we work with a range of clients. It's like various different sectors. Construction, furniture, I don't know, like it can be a widespread of things. But one of them we got was Alphabella Tires, so they just sell tires online. And the site that they had when they first came to us was like, when you go on to an old site and it's like massive text and massive images and it's like flashing lights at you. It's almost like singing and dancing and
Why do I
playing
need
music.
JavaScript to access this page?
Yeah, it was like that. And we turned it into a really nice website. And like you look at it, it doesn't really, you're selling tires. It's not interesting. But it looks, in my opinion, looks lovely.
Well, that's the thing. If I'm going to buy tires on a website, I want to get in, get out.
Yeah.
And not linger.
Yeah.
I'll go somewhere else for my pretty things.
Exactly. But yeah, 2-in-1. So it's easy to use. It's a very straightforward site. Like they sell the tires on there. So it's simple as homepage, e-commerce page, and then contact.
You obviously work with a lot of owners of small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think we as owners have a tendency to overcomplicate everything?
Because you know it the most. Like, you understand every single little nook and cranny of your business, and therefore you want to share that all instead of just, for me as an outsider person, like I'm listening to all your business greatness and business success, but really I'm picking out what the customer needs to know the most. Like, they need to know what it is, where it's from, how I get it, and that's really the 3 main things. Like, so it's just because the client often knows too much about their business, too much about the ins and outs that the customer really doesn't need to know about. Like, it depends what it is again, but we have another client whose website is recently going out, I think actually went out maybe 2 days ago or something, and it was an
bio.
It was an example as well of the site they originally had just reams and reams and reams of content, and when we went into the first meeting it was like, let's start by just removing all that. Like, they don't need to be educated on how your product or service works. They just need to get access to it. They just need to buy it. They just need to ring you up and say they want it.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, like you said, your job in a way is you exist to serve Bob down the road at all times.
Yeah.
That's a lovely avatar to have in your head. It's like late at night. You just can't get this UI thing. You're like, I'm doing it for Bob.
Yeah.
Come on, Bob. I got you, guy.
So, yeah. There's loads of Bobs. They're user personas. You make Bobs and Johns and Sarahs up all the time.
How long have you been working with DHD? What did you do before? Were you studying?
Yes. So
Awesome.
I studied interaction design at Ulster University. It took me maybe 3 years to understand what UX and UI was. It was just like the first 2 years you're just flailing about. But then 3rd year is placement year, and I went to a medical software company called Certain. Which again was great, learned lots. Just, I think, very overwhelming coming from like not a medical background to going into a place where everyone around you, like everyone you're working with, are like phlebotomists. And I'm like, what's a phlebotomist?
You're like, I can't even say that word.
But it was very good. And I worked there throughout my placement and then throughout final year on a like part-time position as well.
Nice one.
Then I went back to final year, and our like project, I guess, was to create something. That was the brief.
Love
So
it.
you could do whatever you want. And I created a like travel inspiration and planning app.
Awesome.
Wasn't one of those people that went on to make it real life, but maybe one day I will. And then the second I graduated, joined DHD, and I've been here for over 2 years.
Unreal. Daniel, can you put the wide on? Is he there? Oh, he's not there. I was going to call out John. So John sits right here.
Uh-huh.
We see John all the time. You should have a conversation with John. He makes maps.
Oh, right.
And he's currently working on like a all Ireland interactive
Class.
map experience,
Yeah.
tourism, and it's super cool.
No, I don't need to look at that. There was another idea I had for final year, and it was basically, I don't know how I planned to do this, but you're standing up at the top of Cave Hill.
Right.
You've got your either you've got glasses on you, or they've got, one of those tourist maps.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know how this works. AI, AR, whatever happens, and like little things come up where there's IKEA over there. There's Scotland over there.
Yeah. That would be really cool. Yeah, like, okay, so let's workshop this together, okay? We take it just really simple, like 20% of all profit sharing going forward.
Yeah.
The contract's there. Daniel will give it to you afterwards. Yeah. Whenever you go to like Bangor and you've got those wee telescopes that you look through and you pop 10p in, what if you create like an AR version of that where you can just zoom across and it's like, boom,
and it gives you the
boom.
information of what you're looking at.
That's cool. I really like that.
It was a binned idea, like, but still cool.
Okay, well, I'm glad we spent time workshopping a binned idea.
Maybe one day.
So how did you get connected to the Bass? Did you know anything about it before?
No. David took us here on a trial day, and we just all loved it compared to our last place. So
class.
Then we converted.
Unreal.
And I've been here, I don't know, over a year anyway.
What do you personally like about this place?
Well, I'd say the people, like just being able to, like sitting at home, sometimes you're staring at the four walls, just having no thought of what's next. Whereas you come in here, and if you have like a question or even just lost for ideas, you just turn around to anyone. And then the food is a great point.
What's your go-to?
Well, see, half the problem is love the breakfast Mondays and love the pizzas, but I'm actually gluten intolerant.
Yeah,
so sometimes
tricky.
It's a battle between, do I just eat the delicious food and deal with it later, or do I be a good healthy queen?
It's the human paradox of pain versus pleasure.
Yeah.
In one.
Usually this side always
Greg
wins.
sausage roll.
Yeah. I can't resist, but yeah.
You guys are quite unique in terms of a lot of companies in here that you're still hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, 4 days.
Tell us about that. What do you use this place for, basically?
Yeah. Well, so we're 4 days at home, 1 day in here, but then also we're all flexible. Like tomorrow's office day again, but I'm in today, so you can come and go really. But we use it mostly as our team day to have like those team discussions about, like, it's basically a meeting day. Like, we all know that limited work's getting done on the office day because there's just so much chat. Like, we save our meetings for this day so that everyone can just discuss in person, because otherwise you get the tumbleweed on Zoom sometimes.
Yeah. Or the billion Slack messages.
Yeah. So it's just meetings with everyone and anyone in here is the best thing, really.
Unreal. Final question, landing the plane. Let's go for, what advice would you give a younger version of Lucy who's just graduated and is about to start work?
God love her, like.
My heart goes out to her.
It does. I was just the quietest person in the room.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Didn't speak up. Like, if I feel like it's just the imposter syndrome of, like, I know the answer, but I won't tell you the answer in case it's the wrong answer.
Sure.
Even though it can't be the wrong answer. So I'd say just keep working on the confidence. And yeah, I feel like I'm doing pretty well now. I've done a number of talks and attended a number of events myself and those sorts of things. So
awesome.
We keep going.
Well, Lucy, you killed it today. You would have known that you were shy just a few years ago.
Yeah. Well,
awesome.
Steve anonymously signed me up, and then I was like, no, past me will be really grateful for this.
That's so awesome. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for listening or watching this episode. If you would like to check out some more conversations with our incredible members, check it out on the YouTube page or the Ormo Bass website. And if you are sitting at home watching the four walls, or you have a company that's like, look, we need to get back in person, I would highly recommend coming and checking Ormobas out for a tour. We would be delighted to show you around and see how Ormobas could work for you and your business. And other than that, Lucy, thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Really loved it. Ta-da!